Make the morning great with a stop at Whistle Stop Donuts on West Main Street in Princeton. Whistle Stop makes their donuts fresh daily, and they're ready on your way to work or school. They have a wide variety of fresh donuts, so you can surprise the office with a dozen delicious donuts. And remember, after 11 a.m., donuts are only $5 per dozen through August 8th. Stop by Whistle Stop today and enjoy a donut or a dozen. They're open 5 a.m. to noon, Monday through Saturday. Whistle Stop Donuts on West Main in Princeton.
And at 8:05, welcome to Tiger Talk, and I have the pleasure of welcoming to the WPKY studios this morning Mr. Bob Hayes. He's president of the Butler Caldwell County Alumni and Friends Association. And good morning, Bob.
Hey, John, how are you?
I'm doing well. What about this nice little storm we've had passing through?
Well, we just watched it as I drove into town. I was driving into it, and since we've been here, we've been off the air a little bit. Vicious lightning, a little pea-sized hail, so. But it should be moving through quickly from what Channel 6 told me this morning.
Yeah, and moving through quickly, and the rest of the week looks great, and that's going to take us right into this weekend for this fine event that you've been a part of now for many years.
I've been a member for many years, the Butler Caldwell Alumni and Friends Association, but I've only been an active member of the board for this is my second year. And the reason that is that happens on the same day as my Kiwanis Association, and for the last umpteen years I've been frying sausage on that particular Saturday morning and not being able to get to the reunion. But that changed last year when I became a board member, found myself into the president's chair right away, and so I can only fry sausage this year for like 2 hours, 5:30 to 7:30.
You must have missed a meeting. Usually you miss a meeting and become president. Did you
No,
miss a meeting?
I think other people missed the meeting.
Okay.
That's how that happened. But no, this coming Saturday is our annual Butler Caldwell Alumni and Friends Association meeting. The real meeting itself starts at 10 o'clock, but people will start gathering in the gymnasium at 8:30 for coffee, donuts, mingling, renewing old acquaintances, making new friends, and that. And then they'll be getting up, making their way up to the auditorium of the Butler building, passing through several tables to check in, properly register, other various and sundry things that will take place there. And then, as I say, 10 o'clock, we'll kick the meeting off. Hopefully we're not too late on that. And it usually is a 45-minute to an hour meeting. And after the meeting, we will adjourn and go to the gymnasium for a barbecue lunch catered by NOS this year. So a real active day, at least up until 12:30 when the last people leave the gymnasium, and then there are a couple things that we have to do as a board to remain around and clean up a little bit, put tables back. We're borrowing some tables this year from the First Christian Church, and we have to get those back to the church. So it's a fun-filled, exciting morning, to say the least.
And how many are you expecting this year?
We have so far in excess of 110 registered for lunch. And I should mention right now that you don't have to be a member of the Alumni Association to come to the meeting, but you're invited. And if you want to stay for lunch, lunch is at a cost of $15, and we'd love to have you join the association. We'll have forms up there for those people wishing to do that. Dues for the year, $15. We do offer lifetime memberships at $100 per person. So we would invite you to give that some thought. If you haven't joined, it's a great organization. Basically, the Alumni Association has two purposes. One is that we look at the education standpoint, and for the last several years, since 2004, we've given scholarships to a female athlete. And this year, our winner for 2017 is Miss Bailey Oliver. And this year's $1,000 scholarship will make a total of $12,250 that we've paid out of our funds to ladies going on to college. The other mission that we have is to help the school board, aid them in the preservation and restoration of the Butler buildings. But basically, it's the Butler building itself. We've done very little work in the gymnasium and have done no work in the annex since our meeting or our organization has been formed. But we've done several projects. The big project in 2016 were the renovation of the steps leading into the building from the east side and west side of the building. New rail on the West Main Street side. This year, we've been looking at the columns. The columns for the last few years have been looking like they needed cleaning and some repair. We did that this year to the tune of $42,250. We had several people make donations to that, and so we're certainly not out that much money. But those columns were clean. The ceiling above the columns were pressure washed and repaired, and the columns themselves were checked for soundness and stability, and they were found to be in super shape. And so they were coated with some type of the space age technique that allows them to have a much longer life. So we're proud of that. They turned out really well. We're not sure what we're going to be doing next year project-wise, but that'll be coming up. We have a board meeting in October. We'll have another one in January, and by then we'll have an idea as to what we want to do for 2018. So it's an organization that is active. We also are in the last, several years, we've had an alumni room on the top floor, on the second floor of the Butler building, and Ann Knopfsinger handed that up until 2 years ago when Carolyn Traum, who is a member of the class of '65, the same class year I was in, came back to Princeton, and together those two ladies have really revolutionized the alumni room upstairs with many more items on display. And so we invite the people that are coming Saturday to get there early. You can look at it before the meeting starts. You can look after you eat. You can look after it after the meeting and before you go eat. So we urge you to take advantage of that.
Well, for many of us, that building's special. I know I moved here in 1980, went to middle school there, and there were some old schools around some in Florida, but there's just something just really neat about that building, and it's still, when you walk in there today, the integrity of it, the smell that's in there, it's a good smell. It reminds you of being in school, and you walk those halls, and it's really neat that building is preserved so nicely, and that auditorium is just wonderful.
It has been. It's a well-built building to start with, and was completely renovated, I would say 20 years ago, and really made into great shape. Not much happening on the second floor and not much happening in the basement, but that first floor, the main floor, really was nicely done. The gymnasium and a lot of our projects that we have done. I just mentioned the last project of last year and the project this year, but we've also done some brick and mortar work on the west side of that building. We'll probably be doing some more on that in the upcoming year. Water does tend to penetrate those mortar joints, and so we've been able to stop the flow of that. We've also done some drywall work in the auditorium to get it ready. So it's just a situation where we can help the school board, let them use their monies for the education of our kids, and we enjoy being able to be a plus for the building and a plus for the Board of Education.
And you guys do a fantastic job with that. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll got several other things we'll discuss. Want to talk about maybe who some of the officers are, and then we'll maybe look at some of the other things and some of the history of the board when we come back. You're listening to Tiger Talk at 8:13. Guest Bob Hayes in studio. He's the president of the Caldwell County Butler Alumni, Friends of Butler Alumni Association, and we'll be back in just a minute.
String Beans Coffee House in downtown Princeton specializes in made-to-order espresso drinks, hot, over ice, or frozen. They serve lunch Tuesday through Friday from 11 to 2. Like them on Facebook to view their weekly menu. They also rent out the back room for birthday parties, anniversary parties, and baby showers. That's String Beans Coffee House, 108 East Main Street, Princeton. Give them a call, 270-365-0550. Shh! It's What's Princeton's best-kept secret? Pardon me?
Mrs. McLovett's Cupcakes in downtown Princeton. It's truly the best kept secret in Princeton. Come down and enjoy a delicious homemade cupcake made from scratch and only from the finest ingredients. While downtown, enjoy a sweet treat on the patio in front of our shop. It's a delightful way to spend a moment with a friend or someone you love. Check out Instagram and Facebook for the Mrs. McLovett's Flavor of the Week. Mrs. McLovett's Cupcakes on Lower Main in Princeton, where there's always room for a cupcake. Phone 270-963-2544 to place an order.
All right, and we are back here on Tiger Talk with Bob Hayes. And Bob, before the break, we were talking about just a lot of the history and the soundness of the Butler building. Tell us about this event coming up this weekend. You've got a good speaker lined up.
We do have a good speaker, and before I get into that, Ty, the building, that particular spot has been the home for educational buildings in Princeton and Caldwell County for many years. Building that we're in right now, the Butler building, was constructed in 1923, 24, in that era. So these columns that we were talking about doing work on this past summer, those columns are in the 90-plus years of age.
Right, and there was a college on that site.
There was a college prior to the Butler building being constructed. But before we get into our speaker, I want to go ahead and go over the officers of the Butler Caldwell Alumni and Friends Association. I'm president, class of 65. Vice president is Sue McConnell Jones. Sue lives in Nashville. She's the class of 63. Linda Grandstaff is our secretary, class of 1967. Her husband, Barry Grandstaff, is our treasurer. He's the class of 1963. Our directors are Marcia Andrews, class of 1969. Eunice Anderson Beavers, class of 1961. And Eunice has done great work on our newsletter, which will be available on that particular day this coming Saturday. Frank Egbert is a new member of the board. Frank is a member of the class of 67, and Frank will have some alumni hats, Butler alumni, Caldwell County alumni hats that we'll be offering for sale this coming Saturday. Ann Knopfsinger is the class of 1957, and she's been part of the alumni room start. And then Carolyn Traum, class of 1965, who is also a member of the board and has done great work along with Ann in our alumni room upstairs on the second floor. And part of what the meeting is about is our keynote speaker. Last year, my first year, and probably only the second year I was ever at one of the meetings I mentioned earlier, Kiwanis had me tied up where I could not make the meeting. But last year we had a local person living here, Phil Van Hoosier, be our keynote speaker. Excellent talk by Phil. This year, we have a Princeton native who does not live here, and it's Dr. Walter Bumpus. I first met Walter when we consolidated back in the fall of 1963. Walter coming over with his fellow Dotson students, being integrated in the Caldwell County system, really met a lot of fine people through that union, if you will, and Walter was on the basketball team. I played a little basketball first 2 years, freshman and sophomore years, and great guy to be around. And he has had a really nice career, and just kind of going over some of his accomplishments. He is a native of Princeton, a 1966 graduate of Caldwell County High. He completed his undergraduate degree in speech communications from Murray State University and earned a master's degree in guidance and counseling from Murray as well. He holds a PhD in higher education administration from the Community Leadership Program at the University of Texas in Austin, and currently serves on the Murray State University Board of Regents. He's been awarded several honors in his life, and we're just very pleased to have Walter come join us this year and be our speaker.
I'm sure it'll be a great talk by Dr. Bumpus.
Walter was always friendly, outgoing, funny, so I would think that we would be well entertained by his message. And for somebody to be outside the local community, earning accolades. That's always great to have some of your friends be nationally recognized.
Definitely. And then coming back, and now will his talk take place during the lunch, or will that be during the formal meeting?
It will be during the formal meeting.
Okay.
And we want to probably about midway through the meeting, so that we're not too much asleep. I've put too many people to sleep leading up to that point, and Walter can wake them up, and then we'll close out with thinking about lunch, perhaps. But Walter, we're just really pleased with who we've been able to have these last couple of years.
Yeah, you guys have done a fantastic job getting those speakers. Now, have you kept track of as far as who has RSVP'd, as far as the range of the classes?
We have some idea.
Okay.
Basically, we have a lot of the same people repeating every year coming up, because it is a real nice time for people in my generation and even further back to see people they probably don't see every day uptown. And
Talk about the Beatles.
well, talk about anything
Ed Sullivan
that
Show.
comes. For instance, like if I still have a mind, whatever comes to mind is what we'll talk about.
That was a great era, though, wasn't it, Bob?
Oh, yes,
I mean, the
yes.
mid-'60s through there, that was pretty cool.
We also tie in the program. We'll recognize Bailey Oliver as our scholarship recipient for 2017. Then we're going to have a little message from our interim superintendent, Randy McCarty, who will speak to us, give us a short message, go through a little old business, new business. Then the DAR will be recognized in this program or in our maintenance project to do the columns this year and restore them back and put a coating on them. The DAR gave us, we've had to fill out a grant. They awarded us a $5,000 grant. So we want to recognize the people from DAR, the local DAR chapter, and anybody that maybe comes in from out of town on that. So we're very appreciative of what the DAR people have done to help us in this project cost. And we also will have then, following the roll call of classes, and we've had several reunions that we know we're holding this year. The 1952, which was the 65th, the 57, which was the 60th, the 62, the 55th, the 67, the 30th, and the 1977, the 40th class reunion. And then I also know that there have been a couple of weeks ago a 10-year class reunion. Not everything gets reported to us as far as who's having a reunion, but
87 had theirs as well.
okay,
the 30th,
so
yeah.
we've had the 20-year reunion or 30-year reunion
30, yep.
on that. So then we'll have the speaker. Then something that we've always had as a tradition, after Walter finishes with his talk, we invite Dot McConnell up to the stage, and any of the Egbert boys that might be there
That can sing a little bit.
Anybody that can sing a little bit along with Janet Webb, and we'll have our alma mater. Then we'll have the blessing of the meal. Then we'll be dismissed to the gymnasium for the barbecue lunch.
Miss Dot is a heck of a song leader. She led the singing up during, I believe, up at the courthouse during Veterans Day recognition, and she just does a great job. So I'm sure the leading of the alma mater is just as well.
Well, and as you mentioned, she comes at it with an enthusiastic approach. And last year we were fortunate to have the Egbert boys in audience, and she really reveled in getting those guys up there. And I think even Frank went up last year. I'm not real sure on that. We're going to get Frank up there this year.
Frank's I've done a little singing with Frank, and he knows how to do it. I sang with his brother as well, so I was definitely a notch below those guys. But it's fun. They're fun to sing with. This is this meeting that you have. It works out really perfect, I think, with this weekend, with the Black Patch weekend, because Black Patch in itself is sort of a homecoming for lots of folks. People that might live out come home and visit during this time, and it seems that way for this organization as well.
Well, and that's true. That was the main point why this weekend was chosen, because it is a coming home event for a lot of people, and where we feel like assume the people who made this decision before I was involved had that as their. We'll never get as many people in Princeton as we can on that particular day, Black Patch Saturday. So that we see no reason at all to change that.
And this organization is open for everybody that not necessarily graduated from Butler High School, correct?
That's correct. It's Butler grads, Caldwell County grads, and the other key thing here, friends. You don't have to be a graduate of either Butler or Caldwell County to join and participate and be a part of something that to me, keeping that building sound and safe is an icon here in Princeton. I mean, you can't go anywhere in the west end of town without passing by that building on a daily basis.
Not only that, but it's a center for happenings. It's used still to it's still active. The field is still actively used for soccer, for different events. The yard and the grounds are used for different community activities. So it's a center of attention here in town. And
it is. I think you mentioned earlier this morning the soccer game tonight.
Yeah.
In that stadium behind the Butler building, and also obviously we're aware that the Board of Education occupies that building and are really great stewards at their maintenance of the building, but we try to see what we can do to help out in where we can allow monies from the board to go to the kids and their educational effort here in Caldwell County. So we're pleased to be able to be an adjunct to the board, looking to see where we can help and do all that.
Well, we want to encourage everyone to participate in this year's 2017 Black Patch Heritage Festival. Big week. It starts on Friday. You know, the George Kuhn Library starts their book sale. Then we have the parade Friday. And then it all kicks off with our Kiwanis Pancake Breakfast Saturday morning down at Ogden Methodist Church. We encourage everybody to come out and get a good hearty breakfast and carb up for the activities going on all day.
The sausage, I should say, on the Kiwanis Breakfast is supplied by Hancock's Grocery out of Katie's, and
one of our sponsors.
And we've had them for several years. And really, Friday kicks off. I'll have some oversight in how the tables get set up in the Butler building on Thursday. Friday, we're running around trying to fine-tune everything, and then you and I will find ourselves Friday night in Marion, Kentucky, doing a football game.
It's a busy week, Bob.
Getting home probably around 10 o'clock, 10:30, getting a little bit of going over my notes as to what I want to do Saturday morning, getting up early, going in and being at Ogden at 5:30 to cook sausage for 2 hours. So I think I'll be ready for a Saturday afternoon nap about 2:30 or 3.
There you go. You can charge up to get back downtown. A lot of activities going on as far as our Black Patch Heritage Festival, and of course this great event's been going on now for several years. I think you had the Articles Incorporation. You said these articles were from a '92. I think you said
1992. So we've been at it for 25 years, and I'm not sure how long I've been a member, but I know several years, but only an active member in going to the meetings. This will be my 3rd meeting, so
okay.
I'm still learning.
Well, and I think it's I hope people that are out there listening, my curiosity is up. I didn't know exactly what the organization did until you came and kind of clarified it. I knew it was a meeting of people that had graduated from Butler and maybe Caldwell County. I didn't know if there were certain classes that were included, but folks, if you're out there listening and you know the Butler building means something to you, providing scholarships to young people here in town. Bob's handing me an application. Yes, I'll take it. You know, this is a fine organization to be a part of, and they do good things. And I think the preservation of our Butler building and to provide a scholarships for deserving Caldwell County High School senior. And this, you said, it's mainly just been a girl.
It's female,
Female
because I think the early on thinking was that a lot of the males got recognized for their athletic ability awarded, and the founders of this group thought maybe the lady should have a similar type.
So it's a female athlete.
Yes.
Okay. Well, good deal. And if you're out there listening and you say, boy, that sounds like something I want to be a part of, then we encourage you to come on down Saturday.
And again, Ty, $15 a year to me isn't too much. I can rest assured that the money is well spent, And if you want to be a life member, you can do that as well for 100 and eliminate the $15. You have to go 7 years for it to pay off in that regard.
There you go. And Bob, if I know ideally you want to have an idea of how many people might be planning to eat Saturday, but if somebody's listening, they want to come and stay for lunch. I mean, it's better that they maybe call and maybe give you an idea, or can they just show up?
I think right now we've handled it this well for the third year that they can just show up.
Okay.
I think if we get some late minute reservations, it would be nice if they did call, but that's not essential.
Okay.
We always had enough food, and I think that will be the same case this year.
Okay, and this gets underway at 8:30. The registration begins at Butler.
At 8:30 up until you can mill around, go up to the alumni room. You can get in your seats early, but we hope to be able to start the regular meeting at 10 o'clock.
And real quickly, we're about to wrap up here, but let's talk about that. I wanted to kind of talk about the alumni room a little bit. There's some pretty neat memorabilia up there. They've done a good job with that, getting everything up there.
It is neat, and it's well displayed, and Ann Knopfsinger and Carolyn Traum will be up there to guide anybody that wants to view that, and I would certainly recommend that you go up and take a look at that, and also recruit any memorabilia that you might have in your home relating to the school years that you were there. We'll have a place for it, and you can make arrangements with Carolyn and Ann that day to bring it to, or they'll come get it, whatever the situation is. So we encourage anybody that comes who have not seen that room to go up and do so.
Good deal. And I'll keep an application here at the Tiger. We might put it out on our website if it's something that you want to be a part of. Then drop by here at the radio station. I'll have some of these applications here. We'll probably put it up on our website or our Facebook page so you can print it out and be a part of this fine organization, especially if you've been to school, whether Butler High School or Caldwell County. All are welcome, and friends, of course. If you just somebody you just want to support, you might have moved in here and think, boy, that's a neat building, or I'd like to be a part of that and help. Then just become a friend.
We welcome everybody.
All right. Bob, have we missed anything this morning?
I think we've gone over it at least twice,
Okay.
Ty, and I think the third time I might lose somebody. So
Okay.
I think we've done enough.
All right. Well, listen, thank you for being here, and just gear up now for the week that you have coming at you, and we'll be seeing you on Saturday. I know, bright and early for sausage frying, and then possibly downtown as well for the Butler Caldwell County Friends alumni reunion.
Thanks for having me on, Ty. I appreciate it.
Okay. That is Bob Hayes, everybody, and we encourage you to head on down to Black Patch, our Heritage Festival, the 2017 version brought to you by the Princeton Optimist Club. That's downtown Princeton. Full day of events, and it all kicks off Friday with our Black Patch Heritage Festival parade, and then the pancake breakfast from the Kiwanis Club at 7 o'clock, the street fair from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., and don't forget about this wonderful Butler Caldwell County reunion on the Butler campus from 8:30 to noon. Love to see you down there for that. It is 8:32. That's going to wrap up this edition of Tiger Talk here on your hometown radio station,